of allegiance with us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We welcome everyone. Have a pretty good crowd here today. We'd like to begin, before we even start with our first agenda item, to invite Larry Ellertson to come forward. He would just like to make an announcement that would be helpful for all of us to be aware of.
That may be giving me too much credit. I'm Larry Ellertson. I'm with Congressman Curtis's office. And first week in September, the congressman's going to be doing some touring down in this area and concluding on the 6th of September, that's the Friday, I believe, with the Rural Business Summit that he's promoting here, and that will be held out at the Senior Center, as I understand it. So, and then the only other thing would be I'm always pleased to be with you, and if there's anything that I need to be aware of, that the congressman needs to be aware of, please don't hesitate to let me know.
Thank you.
So, short and sweet. and just thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we appreciate Congressman Curtis and his fight for us here locally. Their team spends a lot of time helping here, so thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, item number 1, a presentation of Tourism Super Service Award. Tina Henry, our tourism specialist.
Hello, good afternoon. So we're here once again to present our Certificate of Appreciation for a member of our community who's provided outstanding customer service. And this person actually, I lost count of how many nominations that he had. And so if everyone can remember that the people that are chosen for these are nominated by their peers, by customers who frequent our area. And so I just want to share a couple of quotes, 3 different quotes that came through. So this one, an absolute amazing and helpful individual. The way he manages and interacts with people at the range is top notch. I've personally brought hundreds of people from around the world to my events that are held at North Springs, and they all fall in love with Scott and his staff. They often comment in our videos that North Springs is the finest shooting facility in the world, and Scott is a huge reason why. He ensures that each person has a safe, enjoyable experience at the range, and by the time guests leave, they are a friend of Scott without fail. Scott has went above and beyond day after day for hundreds of us. Anytime I call, he answers, and anytime I need to come to Price, he ensures me that we can make something work. So I am proud to present this award to Mr. Scott Olson of North Springs Shooting Range. I think he was going to cry.
I'm going to cry.
There you go. Do you want to say something?
Well, it's real easy to be a good salesman when you've got a great product. And the shooting range in Carbon County is a great product. And I just want to thank the staff and all the volunteers we have out there, because that's what makes the range work. We treat everybody like we want to be treated, and I think we've got a wonderful place out there, and I really thank everybody for this.
And this is a $50 Amazon card, too. Spend it on yourself, not on the range.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we got to look at Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
you. Thanks,
Appreciate
Scott.
what you do out there.
And Scott, with that Amazon card, are you going to buy more ammunition, more targets?
More shirts.
There you go.
Thank all you guys. Extra large. Oh, just excellent. All
Yeah.
right.
Thank you. Next is item 2, a presentation of Mike Ballard fundraiser check. Rose Barnes.
We'll wait for Linda to come up as well. Commissioners, this has been a pleasure. This is our 10th year of doing this fundraiser, and every year it, provides an amount of money to a recipient that's in need. This year, before we have Janelle come up, I'm Janelle's husband. Oh, you can come up. Yes. Janelle lost her husband tragically in an accident in January, and she's got her cute little family, and
We're missing one, but
And they were an amazing group to work with. And I just want to thank everyone on our committee, and hopefully I didn't leave anybody off, so, plus everyone in the community that helped with it, because we have a lot of support within the community. But first and foremost, Linda Ballard, Frank Ori. Frank was our recipient last year, and I know he's back there. And he's doing a lot better, so we're excited about that. Commissioner Casey Hopes, Sheriff Jeff Wood, Emily Wood, Ann Anderson, Tom King, Janelle did a huge job, Valerie Lupo, her sister-in-law, Robin Nelson, her mother-in-law, Misty Birch from the hospital, Jerry Nelson, and that was kind of a weird, yeah, because he has the same name as JR, and when it came up on caller ID, it kind of freaked me out, because it was like, this is like, okay, this is a little weird, and because when I was expecting Janelle, and it wasn't Janelle, it was a male's voice, it was like, this is a little odd, so he was very, very helpful. Haley Atwood and Bill Barnes. So we had a great committee. They put forth a great amount of effort, and I'm sorry for your loss, but it was a great experience for us, and I'm just going to give everyone the grand totals. So this year we collected $36,214.01. That's amazing for our community for a one-day event. And after expenses, I'm happy to present, we'll let Linda present the amount right there.
$28,885.21. Thank you. That is amazing. Yes, it's amazing. They were great to work with.
Yeah, it's a great committee. Thank you.
Great committee, great community. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Thank you, guys.
Kids are demanding.
We
you.
whacked Linda this year
Yeah.
at the tournament, but yeah, she helped all along the way, so thank you. Thank you, commissioners, and everyone who
Thank you.
helped.
I would like to say too, for the Nelson family, that I knew JR, worked with him a little bit, played some City League basketball with him. He's a great guy, and sorry for your loss, but hopefully this helps a little bit. So thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you, and thank you to all of the employees and volunteers that helped with the fundraising event. There's a lot of effort that goes into that, so thanks, all of you. Okay, item 3 is approval of the minutes of our last meeting from August 7th.
I saw no changes.
Nor did I.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I had one small
okay.
one. I think on the third page, down close to the bottom, Commissioner Hopes made a motion to approve Resolution 2019-04, and Commissioner Jensen second. I think that's probably Martinez.
Oh, you could have.
I probably didn't.
Yeah.
With that change,
I'll accept the change and make the motion with the corrected change.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Good catch.
Item 4 is a open requests for proposals for disposal of Panther Canyon property.
Commissioners, the clerk's office has provided me with the single proposal that's been received. It's unopened, so I'll open that now.
Okay. Maybe of an explanation, the Carbon County has a parcel of ground north of here that's landlocked. We had a request from a company to actually trade that property, and so we've entertained that, and there was an advertisement for either for that property to be purchased or traded, and so this is the results of that.
Commissioners, this appears to be a two-page letter, but just briefly glancing at it, it appears to be a proposal to exchange property with Blackhawk Coal Company. the relevant portion of the paragraph says Blackhawk is proposing to trade a portion of parcel 020040, which consists of approximately 65 acres immediately west of Highway 6, also known as Gentile Wash, for Carbon County's parcel 02-0425, also known as Panther Canyon. It indicates that sets out the Blackhawks parcel has a minimum value according to their own appraisal of $42,250. It indicates that there are numerous universities and corporations throughout the United States and internationally, as far as as far as away as the United Kingdom, Scotland, and Norway, who travel with large tour groups to Carbon County to visit Gentile Wash. It's estimated these universities and corporations bring in 2,000 plus educators, students, and corporate geologists annually to tour and study the unique geologic formations found in Gentile Wash. So it appears that this is a request to exchange property. I would, with Blackhawk Coal Company, and it's the only one received. I'd have the commissioners note that a notice of this request for proposals was also mailed to all of the property owners who own property adjoining the county's property. So in addition to this going out to the newspaper, this was a specific notice was also mailed directly to adjacent property owners.
Any discussion about this? Any
Commissioners, I just point out
explanation?
that the bid notice that went out indicated that Carbon County does own that property up there in Panther Canyon, that we do not have a direct or any kind of express easement, and probably don't even have a prescriptive easement to the property that we own. It's landlocked, and because of that, we valued it at somewhat less than $20,000, I believe.
Have no questions.
I don't have any questions either.
Maybe just a little brief explanation of this. If you're familiar with, right as you go into Price Canyon, there's usually some vans parked there. The canyon is a world-renowned area for geologists to view the sediment deposits that were left when Lake Bonneville filled this area up. And so the mine is anxious to get rid of the potential liability of these people always having to call and ask for permission to go on their property. And they ask us to trade this ground with them, and we think that this might help preserve well into the future that gem that we have there, that people come from all over the world to look at it. I don't recommend stopping and going there because it's really dangerous trying to get off the road there. So it's something we won't advertise and make a big deal of, but that's why we've done it. So we entertain a motion to accept that.
I'll make a motion that we accept the proposal. Do we want to review that proposal and have a department make a decision on that?
You could provisionally approve the exchange, subject to a review by legal and perhaps the engineer's office and road department. But otherwise, you could conditionally approve it tonight, I believe.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the proposal and have it reviewed by the attorneys, the planning and zoning, and the road departments for any advice that they would have.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 5 is an introduction of the new Utah State University Extension staff. So Steve, why don't you come up? And Ellen Surfestini retired. So we have Some
So
new
I
help.
have with us today our regional director, who would like to kind of make a formal introduction to you guys. So just wanted to give her a chance.
Thank you so much. My name is Margie Mehmet, and I appreciate the opportunity to come and meet with you commissioners here in Carbon County. On behalf of Utah State University Extension, I extend my thanks to you from Dr. Ken White, the Vice President for Utah State University Extension. He is sad that he wasn't able to make the trip and be here. He had a prior engagement, but asked me to take his place and come and speak with you and tell you thank you so much for your great partnership. We value our relationship with Carbon County and with the Commission. And in deference to this partnership and this agreement, I just would like to say that we have had the opportunity to have Ellen Surfestini here for many years, and she has been a great county director. At this point in time, upon her retirement, we have appointed Steve Price as our county director, the department head for Carbon County Extension, and we have also hired Christina Pay, who is the new Family and Consumer Sciences and 4-H faculty extension assistant professor for us here in Carbon County. We look forward to great things from both of them, continued excellence in programming, providing scientific, research-based, non-biased information to the clients and families of Carbon County. So we are committed to doing our part, and I might just explain to the group here, and just as a reminder that an information item, that Utah State University and Carbon County Commissioners, Carbon County, work under a memorandum of understanding, a cooperative agreement, which we routinely every year renew that agreement. And that agreement is the partnership where Utah State University provides the salary and the benefits for our faculty members. And these are our faculty members here. And Carbon County, in turn, for their part of the agreement, you provide the facilities, the office space, the operating budget, the support staff, transportation, communication equipment, supplies. So a great partnership here, and we appreciate that so much. And I want to just also expound a little bit on how extremely helpful you have been in this county to help us with facilities as we grow and expand and are able to provide more services to the citizens here in this county. We want to let you know how much we appreciate that, and we recognize that sometimes it's very challenging finding that space, and we appreciate your help in doing that. We would like to also say that we are committed to bringing additional funds in because we don't want to overtax or extend our welcome. And so we look for external funding opportunities to bring in additional monies to expand and enhance programming to help improve the quality of life for residents here and families here in Carbon County. And as we do that, we find that for every dollar that the Commission spends, we can multiply those efforts by those extra monies that we bring in. And we are committed to continuing those efforts and being able to provide these services. So with that said, I'd like to just, if we could just take a moment, I'd like to invite Steve to come to the pulpit and just talk to you for a minute about his vision for the future of extension here in Carbon County, and then also provide the opportunity for Christina to share her vision, what she brings to the table, her expertise and her background, and in this official capacity. And we're very glad to have both of them here today. And thank you so much for taking the time to allow us to come and speak with you, and thank you once again for this wonderful partnership that we hope to continue for many, many years to come.
Thank you. So thinking about the agricultural side of things, and I guess I won't step on your toes too much and let her kind of tell you what her plans are. But the way I see it, I think there's a big need for some of our programming to get back to the basics on some of this. There's lots and lots of great programs out there, but when you're limited, you have to kind of pick and choose. So, for instance, we're setting up a new, it's an educational event that'll be happening this fall for cattlemen, for getting back to some of that basic bottom line information they need that affects their bottom line, which we haven't had for a little while here. So thinking about my programming, I think that's a big part, but also always looking forward to finding new ways to innovate and working on the new side of things as well. I don't know if you guys have any questions, but
I don't have any questions.
Turn it over to Christina.
First of all, I'm really happy to be here. We moved to Carbon County 6 years ago, and when we came through to visit for the first time, I really felt strongly we could make a difference here in Carbon County. And my focus is going to be on strengthening families, youth, and children, as well as prevention programs. I've spent the last month visiting different coalitions and committees and local government leaders. I met with Commissioner Jensen, and I plan to meet with the other two commissioners to see what you feel the needs are in this community that we might be able to help you with. I'm just really thrilled to have this opportunity and thrilled for the support that the Extension Office provides to me so that I can serve this community that I've called to come to call home, and hope to be here for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you both. I might mention also we have another faculty member on board, Dr. Ashley Yager, and she is the Heart Health Extension Advocacy Research and Teaching team leader for our state, and she happens to reside here and work from Carbon and Emery County and has responsibility here, also statewide. So her focus is opioid prevention and mental health and health and wellness, so we are really appreciative of her efforts here. And we just had a wonderful rural opioid summit here where we had people from all over come and participate in that, and it was an absolutely outstanding event, and I want to thank you for hosting that and providing that opportunity. And then also we have Russell Goodrich, and he is the team lead. He is the senior program coordinator for the Rural Online Initiative program. And you're probably very familiar with that, bringing remote work opportunities to rural Utah and infusing and strengthening the economy and allowing families to stay in these rural areas and have good paying jobs. And this is taking the nation by storm. We are leading the way with this information and this system, this technology, this education. And so I just want to once again thank you for housing and providing this opportunity for our team lead to be housed here in Carbon County. He's actually on the campus, has an office in the campus, one of those buildings, but we are very excited about all the innovative programs and all the foundational basic programs which we provide to the residents here. And so I just didn't want to leave those two very important people out. And then thank you also for the staff support that you provide, because they are an integral part of making it all work. And thank you very much. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't have any questions, but thank you. It's refreshing to have good partners in all the efforts that go on in our community, and it takes us all, and you bring some expertise in those areas that's really needed. So thank you both, and Margie, thank you for coming down for
You bet. And thank
this
you.
meeting.
And also, please feel free to contact us at any time if you have some critical issues or some special needs that you feel like the residents here and people need. Please reach out, and we'll see what we can do to help in that area. Okay?
Thank you.
We'll bring a specialist. That's one of our very unique situations is with the university, the land grant university. We have specialists and experts in every single college at the university, except for the College of Fine Art. And we're working on that. So we can reach out and engage our specialists in helping the residents here. So anytime, give us a call.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 6 is a report on the USU's aviation program at the Carbon County Airport. So Jamie and Tyler and Gary.
Jamie and Tyler have volunteered me to go first.
Okay.
It's USU Day, it seems to be here, with your extension leaders, as well as what we do for USU Eastern as well. And I'm just here to repeat a report that I probably gave about 10 days ago on a Saturday before Demolition Derby, related to our fine cooperation we have with our Utah State University aviation program. I'll just start a long time ago with the history that in 1939, Utah State University in Logan started an aviation program. In 1942, Carbon College started an aviation program. So we're not starting a program here, we're returning the program. The program has come back, in a sense. And what we have been able to do in cooperation with the Logan campus is bring the first 2 years of a 4-year professional pilots program to our community. That involves the fact that we've entered into an agreement with the county for fixed wing operation. No helicopters, that means. That's code word, no helicopters. And we're going to have a couple of airplanes down here. We have hired one faculty. Her name is Ashley Martinez. She's already started. And we have a cohort of students ready to start next Monday in our aviation program itself. That would not have been possible without the county's cooperation. We have a sound MOU, a multi-page MOU, I might add, that had all kinds of dimensions to it and dollar signs. But we appreciate the cooperation of the county to get an agreement so we could remodel a facility to bring in not only a classroom to that airport facility, but also to bring in the internet video conferencing capabilities to broadcast courses from Logan to your airport for an aviation program itself, and the furniture that comes with it and all the other trappings. To be able to do that in less than about 8 months is pretty astronomical. That's all I'm going to say. I've been with universities a long time, and we got this done quick. And so I appreciate the cooperation of the county and many of the people that are here today. So please enter that into the public record. Bureaucracies do get things done, and just the way we kind of get to do that. We also would not have been able to do that without the cooperation of our Civil Air Patrol. They have been very cooperative in hosting with us everything that Tyler will talk about in just a second. I don't want to discount their role in this, their enthusiasm for aviation in this community. The Civil Air Patrol needs to get a good shout out about their cooperation they provide with us, as well as Red Tail, your operator for the airport itself. We believe we're in a position now to also, as we add students, to add faculty. This is about economic growth in the community. The program is at your airport, and it's for our students. It's expanded our students' population, and as the program grows, we will see more students, especially students with international last names to themselves, because there is a demand internationally for airplane pilot training. And so if we were real smart, we would all start a Korean restaurant, because the Koreans want to come here. South Koreans, let me be clear on that. But we have that opportunity for us to see some expansion both in the diversity of our students as well as just increasing kids. The kids who are coming for the program on Monday wouldn't have come here otherwise. So adding that program has added a dimension itself to us of what we've been able to do. And I really have been excited about that. As part of that, we've really had an outreach opportunity, and that's through our aviation camps. Those of you that aren't aware, the first year we did aviation camp 3 years ago, I was in charge. We had 7 students. This year, I put Tyler and Jamie in charge, and they had 40 students. You do the math of who should be in charge. I'll turn it over to Tyler next.
Commissioners, thank you for your time. And before I start, thank you for your support at the airport, at the camp graduation, the open house, everything else. Miss Rita, Tina, Barry, everybody that was there and made it happen. So this was our 3rd year for the aviation camp, the 2nd year that it actually went. The 2nd year we only had 1 student, so they got pushed up to the vernal camp. This year, due to the response from last year, we actually ran 2 back-to-back sessions. So the first one went from August 4th to August 7th, and the second one went from the 7th to the 10th. Both camps were capped at 18 students. The first one ended up with 20, the second ended up with 21. We had a wait list on Eventbrite website with 22 students on the wait list. I knew probably that many students, again, who weren't on the wait list, and the day before the first session at camp started, we had a lady call from Ogden, I believe, Layton, who had 22 cousins who was looking to buy out one whole section of the camp just for them for their summer activity. So we're having a good problem with seats in the camp. Interesting thing this year, last year it was mostly just our local students. This year, between the 2 sessions, we had 18 different cities or communities from Utah represented. 21 students were from Carpenter-Emery County. 23 different schools, both high schools and middle schools from Utah were represented. There were 13 females, 28 males. That was actually kind of odd. Last year there were more females than there were males, so it kind of flip-flopped this year. And then the really cool thing, we had students from 5 different states, from California, Colorado, Florida, Idaho, and Texas, as well as our students here from Price. Good thing, our faculty members, our aviation faculty from Logan, made a specific request for next year's camp. We already have 2 camps scheduled for next year, and they made a specific request that one of those be held just for Carpenter-Emery County students, that they really enjoyed their experience last year. They said it's not that we didn't enjoy it this year. We just like when we have the local students at the local camps. So they requested that one be open to everybody and one be open to just Carpenter-Emery County students. So we are going to oblige and do that for them. Mr. Zach's not here.
Radio
sorry.
controlled airport.
Yeah, at the fairground. Yeah, I think Dr. Conant made the comment.
Found out something.
Yeah, we made the comment, well, we do have an RC airport out at the fairgrounds, so that's actually being incorporated into the camp for next year. So we'll be going out and utilizing that. For enrollments in the program, right now we are sitting at 18 students enrolled. It'll be starting Monday morning. Those include local students, including Mr. Jane, who works for Red Tail out at the airport. So these seats aren't being taken completely by people from out of the area. We have a lot of local students in the program, which is what we like to see.
The second instructor. Living, no, go ahead.
We spoke with Bruce Miller. He's our department chair in the School of Applied Science, Technology, Education. Dr. Miller was down on that Saturday. And speaking with him today, and Dr. Cano and I, one of us just have to tell you that we got too many students and they want to bring down a second instructor. So bringing down a second instructor, one that will complement Ashley, that hasn't been finalized. I don't have a name for you, but we need more people to train pilots. She can't do it all herself, so we'll add a second faculty very, very soon, and that's the good news we think we have as of 11:30 this morning, 12 o'clock this morning. So we're doing things right, we're getting things going. There is a expectation that eventually we keep those airplanes in the air, which will take airplane mechanics. As you realize, airplane mechanic program is a very specialized program. Can we bring that here within 1 year or 2 years? We're still investigating that. That's a different setup, that's a different requirement, that's different FAA certification and a different mechanic, but right now we are investigating how we would do that. That would be the next thing we do, is flight mechanics is what it is. Airframe, power plants, avionics, whatever. But we will hopefully develop that program next, because again, the Logan program at their airport is saturated. I like to say in conclusion, and unless Jamie's got more, but the reason they're coming here is not just because we're cooperative and we have great tuition schedule and we've got great dorms and great food at our cafeteria, but we've got great airspace and we've got cooperation in this community like never before. And Bruce Miller has commented on that several times. He works with the Airport Authority in Cache Valley. He works with the Cache Valley County Council is what they call it up there, and he said the cooperation he sees here is wonderful. So thank you guys and everybody for making this happen. So.
I just want to make a few comments. I want to first thank you for your support. I didn't think 8 months ago that we would be seeing what we saw during the open house. It's phenomenal to know that when we come together, put our heads together, put our thinking together, not the dollars, but everything else fell together into place, and we are now showcasing some beautiful classrooms and office space at the airport. So I got to thank you for that. I also need to say thanks for your participation, your support at the open house. I don't know if you talked to our dean or not. Our dean was very impressed. I think I heard more people comment about sitting in that hangar and looking out, and the view that they saw was phenomenal. I believe that the aesthetics of the program really helped us a lot, and it is a beautiful place. We have some visitors here today from Ohio who are just like overwhelmed with how much mountains there are, how much beauty there is. So we're aware of that, and we really appreciate that. But I also got to say thank you to Rita. Rita was phenomenal in helping us orchestrate the open house. I called Rita and said, hey, we're going to try to do this. She says, get me on board. We met. She took off like a firecracker, and before you knew it, we had some very important people and influential people at our open house, which I think is going to help us in the future in the long run. So I just want to say thank you. Your cooperation is phenomenal. We love working with you all, and anything that we can do from our side at USU Eastern, we are more than glad to help you with that. So thank you.
Thank you.
You have questions or comments, gentlemen? Or?
I have a comment. You know, us local folks have seen that airport for a long time. We know the value that it has, but I really appreciate what Gary, Jamie, Tyler, what you guys have helped bring more attention to, as well as Red Tail, and not only reopening the program, but possibly the opportunity for a mechanics program, for the drone program, for all the potential things that could come and could help develop this area and that airport. I really appreciate your guys' help with that.
Zach is here, and Zach was going to talk to you about the enrollment and where we're headed with that. But you brought up the drones, and I think we need to tell you that next year, Jim Powell, one of our instructors, has got a grant for drone camps. And we're going to have 4 drone camps next year, one at each of the high schools. Well, one at Pinnacle High School, one at Carbon High School, one at Emory High School, one at Green River High School, and it's going to be open for those communities. And it's going to be a 1-week drone camp. So we're looking forward to see how that goes. Another new experiment for us, but we'll see how it goes. But I want to introduce Zach. Zach Kanakis is one of our advisors. He's the one that's responsible for the number of students that we have in our camp, and in our pilot program. So Zach, you want to talk about enrollments?
As of 15 minutes ago, we were sitting at 18 students in the private pilot program, and with another 3 in the pipeline. So we're looking at hopefully 21 professional pilots being certified this semester. So
What's the capacity of your class?
24 right now.
Okay.
So for a first-year program to almost be at max capacity is an extremely exciting prospect for us.
Casey, do you have anything to add? You're over the airport and did a lot of work out there.
We're just very appreciative.
Thank you guys for...
And it's not just the aviation program, USU's, we talked about the extension and all the programs they bring. In the last, since I've been a commissioner, you brought in softball, girls softball, soccer programs. There's and a number of different courses through the technical side. We are very appreciative of everything that USU has done to grow its programs and grow the economy here in our community. You've been very involved in our economic councils and committees, and we appreciate everything you've done. We're very excited, and I agree. The view from out there, I don't know how the students are, hopefully the desks are pointed at the wall, and when the professor starts glaring out over the vast expanses that we have over the airport, hopefully they can stay focused long enough to teach the courses. But thank you again.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's fitting as you guys sit down just to know some of the good things that are happening in the valley that the university is a big part of. The announcement this last week of Intermountain Electronics going to locate their huge expansion here, and the university is becoming a key partner in trying to help train those who would eventually end up working there, up to 300 people over the next 7 years. So there's good things happening. There's a good feeling in our community now, and we've had some significant wins economically. Rita, thank you for all you've done. She seems to always be right on top of it, and as long as we do what she tells us to.
Just gotta stop telling me no.
And again, on behalf of our university, I had an hour-long meeting by TV connection with our provost. The president was somewhere else today, but they're my 2 bosses, and they know what we're doing down here, and they know my emphasis, and they sometimes time to rail me in, or they want to call the sheriff on me, but I'm usually trying to get away with the best for the community. But our president and provost know what we're up to, which is good.
And we appreciate your efforts to fight against the system and try to make it work the way we need it to.
As long as the sheriff doesn't come for me. Okay.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Item 7, update from Procurement Technical Assistance Center. Jack Scones Jones. Met you a week or so ago, but I didn't remember how you said your last name.
Well, I'm 60 years old. It's been mispronounced for 55. No, that's okay. It's a tough one. Good day, Commissioners. Thank you for letting me come and describe the expansion of a program that's underwritten by the Governor's Office of Economic Development and the Defense Department. It's the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, commonly known as PTAC. And the expansion is they've put me on as a full-time representative of that organization here in eastern Utah. I office here in Price. I live in Price, and the office is located up at USU at the Reeves Building. Congress appropriated just enough money for most states to expand their program modestly, and I think that I'm the only rep that went from part-time to full-time. So what that means is I can cover eastern Utah and help small businesses understand how they can do their normal business day to day, but now perhaps they can do a little bit of business with a government entity, and that's at all levels. That's city, county, state, and federal. Last year, a little known fact is that small business in Utah got $700 million worth of business at every level of government, and that's a pretty good chunk. That's a pretty good chunk. Our goal is to be at $1 billion shortly. So what I do is I help companies get registered with the appropriate government agencies so that they're visible. And then the second thing that I do is I help companies respond to requests for quote in their area of work. And so once we understand who the clients are, and by the way, our coverage here has been sketchy for 20 years. The program in Utah is actually over 30 years old. And but the coverage here has been sketchy at best. So I have a long-term commitment from the governor's office and my boss, Chuck Spence, and I've given him a long-term commitment that I'll be on the job. So we are really excited about the potential here in Carbon County and the surrounding counties, and it basically goes from Daggett County, swings through here, through Emery County, and then goes down to down to Blanding area. So that said, the philosophy that I'm going to have when I go to businesses is let's not try and jump in with both feet, people. Let's work on getting some incremental business first, and then we'll try and expand that. So we aren't asking anybody. Most people are afraid to get involved with selling to the government and answering RFQs and whatnot because they're going to get swamped. Well, if you don't do it just right, you will be swamped. So there's a lot of business out there, and if you're not ready for that, that's one problem. And if you're not ready to commit the time and talent, that's the other problem. So my job will be to find a happy medium where businesses are comfortable bidding on public projects. And I think we're going to get a very good response. I live here in Price, I mentioned that already, and my background is 10 years of government procurement. I owned a distributorship that sold to both prime contractors and directly to government agencies. So I have a background that these small businesses are looking for. And so with that said, I'd like to again express my thanks for seeing me today and let me make this announcement. And I think you'll be seeing more announcements about this full-time PTAC exposure here in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Item 8, consideration and possible adoption of Ordinance 518, amending the Carbon County Development Code, Section 4, zoning and regulations. Todd, do you want to address this one?
So this ordinance makes consistent the industrial zone setbacks the same as commercial. So for years, we've had the commercial zones have a 0 setback or as approved, and we wanted to have consistency in our commercial and our industrial zones. So this is an amendment to the industrial zones to have 0 setback or as approved. And as approved means me as the planning director, zoning administrator, we'll approve them based on the setbacks, type of constructions, utility easements, et cetera, so that if a business needs a little more room, there's some provisions to allow that, but yet, based on the building code, require those buildings be far enough apart from each other that they don't contradict any building codes.
Any questions or discussion?
I don't, yeah. I don't have any questions.
We have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Ordinance 518, amending the Carbon County Development Code.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Item 9, consideration and possible approval of a recommendation from the Carbon County Planning Commission to adopt Ordinance 519, an amendment to Section 3 of the Carbon County Development Code, modifying the size requirements of accessory dwelling units.
Commissioners, back in March, at the beginning of this year, you approved a change to the Carbon County Development Code, which allows accessory dwelling units, sometimes called ADUs, to be placed on certain parcels of property. So when you made that change, the change provided that ADUs could be put on a parcel of property, but that they couldn't be more than 1,000 square feet. We have the Carbon County Planning Commission received a request by a private citizen, Carl Krantz Jr., to change that ordinance. He requested that it be allowed that the minimum size or the maximum size of those ADUs be greatly or significantly increased. The Carbon County Planning Commission held a public hearing and considered his request to amend the ordinance and denied his request to amend the ordinance as he had requested. But separately, they did approve a motion to make a recommendation to you that you amend the development code to provide that ADUs may be placed on a private lot and that they can be up to 50% of the footprint of the primary dwelling on the lot, but not to exceed 1,500 square feet, whichever is smaller. So, in other words, an ADU can be half the size of the house that's on the lot, not meaning the square footage of the house, but meaning the perimeter, the square footage based upon the perimeter of the house, or 1,500 square feet, whichever is less. That was the recommendation that was made to you, and that's what you have before you is a recommendation from the Planning Commission itself to approve that ordinance. Just by way of background, some of the arguments that were set forth in support of that were that there are sometimes you have large lots where a 1,500 square foot ADU will not be deemed excessive, where it will be possible to have a large ADU because of the fact that the main lot is so large and it won't take up more than 30% of the space of the lot when you look at the total square footage or the total area covered by buildings. Some of the staff recommendations that were made against increasing the size of the ADU at that time, at that public hearing, were that, number one, if you do that, if you make a building larger than a 1,500 square foot building, or larger than a 1,000 square foot building, you're really getting into buildings that historically have sat on their own building lot. Up until we changed this ordinance in March, it had always been the policy of Carbon County that there be one residential building on each residential lot. You couldn't have two residential dwelling units on one buildable lot. And so this to allow what essentially were to be fairly substantial sized homes, multiple substantial sized homes on one lot, was a change in policy and a change in the presumption of what kind of lots were allowed. As you get some of the other points were that as you get bigger houses, you get more people likely living in those houses. ADUs were more or less kind of meant for urban areas and where housing was at a premium and space was at a premium, and they were meant for people who were residing in those places temporarily. Sometimes you'd have an older person or an older couple residing with their children at the end of their lives. Sometimes it would be young couples or a young family just starting out that was not quite ready to buy their own single-family home, but they were all small and took up a minimal amount of space on any lot. And so they were not really meant to be long-term accommodations for most people. Another concern that was raised was the fact that as our statutory scheme, our ordinance allows it now, it doesn't specifically require that there be separate connections for utilities made to those lots. After the Planning Commission made that recommendation, we've done some preliminary, Todd has done had some preliminary conversations with Prywide, for example, who recommend that those lots, that any dwelling unit have its own separate water connection fee and have its own electrical hookup. So when a substantially sized building is put on a lot and a water connection fee is not paid, for example, that spreads the cost to the rest of the county and to everybody else in the county. So there are a number of reasons why made as to why you may not want to consider such a substantial increase in size of an accessory dwelling unit. To go from 1,000 square feet to 1,500 square feet, you know, that's a 50% increase right there. That's quite substantial. But that's the recommendation that's before you. And by law, it appears that you are required to either approve that proposed land use regulation or deny it at this meeting. So that's the decision you have to make tonight. I don't know if Todd wanted to add anything that I might have skipped over, but.
So you say that this basically started in March. This is a relative new.
Well, it became approved in March. One of the reasons it was brought before you in March is because the county has long known that there are folks who have been constructing accessory dwelling units without a building permit, without coming to the county and asking for permission to do so. So the goal was to stop this process of illegal building of these items by allowing for them in limited circumstances. Limited meaning they're to be small, they have to fit on the parcel. Right now, Todd, they're allowed in what zones?
So they're allowed in anywhere that has 10,000 square feet or larger. So essentially, if you have a quarter acre or more, you'd be able to have a accessory dwelling unit.
So the goal was to get them kind of out of the shadows and into the daylight. We will allow them, but they're going to be small and they're going to be only in those parcels that can really accommodate them.
And since March, have we had many requests for these? Are they very, very new, basically?
We've had several people come into the department and ask about them, inquire. We give them the standards that we have currently, which is 1,000 square feet and less. So people have come in and asked how they can make it work. No one's actually submitted an application for a building permit to build one of them, but we've had people inquire about them.
So do you think it'd be wise to maybe step back from this and take a second look at what we looked at in March?
Yeah.
Fine tune a little bit?
I think there's some additional things that have come up that we are unaware of that may cause some issues with having an accessory dwelling unit, and to be able to further look at those items to see how we best handle it as a county. It's a trend, like Christian said, in the urban areas to have these ADUs because of the price of land. Right now, our price of land isn't out of the realm to where someone couldn't build a home, but a lot of people like to have their parents' age in place so they're close by and not necessarily have to buy another home or build another home, so have something smaller for them to stay in. So I think it's something that'll happen. to the extent of what it's doing in the urban areas. I don't know if we'll have that much coming, but if we do add a few, that could put additional strain onto our utilities and other components, infrastructure.
You guys have anything else?
I think that as we've listened to staff recommendations, it's probably wise to revisit this rather than make a decision tonight to approve this and knowing that the recommendation that's before us is not going to work very good. We've identified situations where you have, and we agree that it's probably unwise, and so I think it's good to just take some steps back, like you said, Commissioner, and put it together, tweak it, and make it so that we don't have problems in 10 years when Grandma and Grandpa are deceased and somebody else buys the place, and we just have things stacked on top of each other that'll compound problems, especially for the Water Improvement District or the power company or the gas company, where those utilities are an issue. So,
Do you have anything? Or?
I echo what's been said. When you had that many potentially extra users on the water system that was designed for a certain number of homes or a certain amount of power, somebody's going to have to pay for the expansion of those services, and that all has to play into this, how we allow them to happen. So I think I'm okay with taking a second look at this.
Okay, so Christian, you said tonight we either have to approve or deny, and I think at this point I'll make a motion that we deny Ordinance 519, an amendment to Section 3 of the Carbon County Development Code to modify the size requirements of accessory dwelling units, ADUs.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 10, consideration and possible approval of district court security contract. Christian?
Commissioners, this is a contract that annually comes before you and that you consider each year. It provides payment for bailiffing services at the district court. We had asked for an increase in the amount of money we received so that Sheriff Wood could hire one more part-time bailiff. The administrative office of the courts was not able to, or unwilling to at least, provide that to us this year. So the amount, as I understand, is the same as last year. It provides that that the county will receive a total of $57,045 to take care of security at the district court. So that will help to pay for bailiffs who will provide that security at the court. It doesn't provide for all the man hours that we send over there, but it significantly, of course, helps the sheriff to accomplish that charge he has.
I know this seems to be an issue for several counties around the state, as I visited with other commissioners, and the state is aware of it. With new court mandates about how they provide court security, this has become an issue in multiple counties, and so I know that the state's aware of it and is they're looking at ways to help this, but it ultimately comes down to how do they fund all of the counties to provide the extra bailiff services that are requested. So
this is the amount we have. We've asked to see if there's any way we could get any more amounts, and they've said no, not this year. So I've reviewed the contract and the requirements of it, and I don't have any other concerns with it.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with the district court security.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Buckle up
Adjourn.
and
Thank
travel
you.
safe.
Thanks for coming.